Welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
I still love the THX sound effect. Like,
I know.
it's still one of the most iconic like sounds out there, and I feel like I'm about ready to be sent on a journey. I mean, we're a bunch of clowns, so I don't know if this is the journey that I'm thinking of, but nonetheless.
Was there ever like a documentary or story on where that sound actually came from? Or
I honestly, I think there is. I don't know if it's a
Like-
full blown like documentary, but I think there's something out there about like
I would watch like an
THX
hour long episode on that. 'Cause it's so awesome. So as
I
long as
would
they
too. I
really
love
break
it.
down, yeah. We are the Jedi Archives. We review comic books for you guys. We try and do what's up to date with Star Wars comic books. Introductions are in order. If you're new to the group, my name's John.
Bryce.
And I'm Mike.
I just want to apologize. I could not be here last week. I was in Italy. Oh wait, that wasn't me. That was someone else.
No, we are
2 weeks ago.
the bus already ran you over, so
I'm already. I went to Italy, and I guess I just missed Mike, and it's just like whatever. But
yeah,
I thought he was going to be here.
Yeah.
We got our dates mixed up, crossed or something.
Yeah. He was aboard as Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
This
But,
week we are reviewing the High Republic Adventures issue 5.
Now or Never Part 2.
This is called Now or Never. Okay,
Part
Now or
2.
Never Part 2. Yep.
that is a good title.
Yep. So 2 weeks ago we did Now or Never Part 1, and this is the exciting conclusion to that issue. And here on Star Wars Comic Book Nerds, here on League of Comic Geeks, it says, on the edge of Republic space, Zine, Lula, and a small Republic fleet launched a surprise attack on a Nile prison ship. It's a daring rescue attempt, but their hope is to find and free missing allies. Now that they fought their way in, will they be able to fight their way out? And if you'll recall, at the end of issue number 4, the warden had just turned off the shield, protecting everyone in the courtyard, so that all of the prisoners started floating out into space. Which was
I didn't quite get what was going on at all until this episode. I thought he just like released the gravity inside the ship. I'm like, well, what's the big deal of that? And then we find out quickly what's going on, and then I'm like, what kind of ship is this that has just like a big opening? But it's pretty interesting when we get into it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those types of ships that it has the courtyard, but when they're within like a planetary orbit or whatever, they can keep it open.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Play basketball.
Yeah, I thought
the yard.
I thought Markion's ship had something similar to that. An open area.
Almost, is it their ship or is it like? Yeah, I remember they had that big plane. I don't know. I remember now that you're talking.
There's
about
the Gaze Electric, but
is it on the ship? I wasn't sure, but yeah, they have this big open area that's like protected by a shield. Now that you mentioned,
So this is the main cover for this issue, and we see
buckets
of blood on the cover. And
Torben, this is
the real Torben
before he became human. This is the other Torben.
Oh my god!
He had a rough 100 years.
Yeah, so here's Torben, buckets of blood, and this is the main.
This cover made me happy. By the way,
it's his pupa stage. It is a good cover. Yeah, it is. The red and the blue contrast is nice.
Well, when you think about all of what the Nile have done, taking out Starlight Beacon, all these Jedi that have died, and and in previous issues within the series was presumed dead for over a year, right? On him,
a year and 2 weeks.
on Varzala, and a couple other characters that we, foreshadowing. Sorry, that we see in the last episode or the last issue as well, that were all on that list that we now know are not dead.
Right.
They're very much alive.
They're just Nile prisoners.
So. Right. And it kind of by choice, right? Because it's something we discussed. Like they could escape whenever they want because they have force abilities and everything like that. But the rule was if somebody escaped, like they were going to kill a prisoner every day until they returned, right?
Right.
And that's just not what the Jedi do.
They can't live like that, right? Yeah. So this is the main cover. Prison Break looks nice. Here's the variant
Oh yeah, very much the artwork that we had
of the variant
last
from
time.
last
But
week. Yeah.
I like this though. Reunited at last. Okay, well that's foreshadowing for the end of this issue.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but cool. It's same similar artwork that we had on the previous variant, and normally don't get variants for the adventures books, but this is now 2 in a row. This is cool. Yeah.
I
I
didn't think we
like
got
it.
any till you guys showed me. I never see variants, so this is kind of it's cool.
It's pretty cool. Nice little surprise. This is a nice cover. I like this one. Actually, I really like this cover because it shows them, happy together, and there's not much joy right now in the High Republic with everything
Nope.
that's going on with the occlusion zone and the Isle. So it's nice to see some levity and some joy. So I really like this cover. I think this is my favorite of the two. How about you, Jonathan?
Sure. They're both cool. I like this art style a little bit more better, but yeah, they're both cool.
Yeah.
Torben
Bryce-
takes it for me only because it just made me happy knowing Torben was alive.
Right.
Is this when we find out was issue 4 that he's alive? That's what I was trying to
In
remember.
issue
I
4.
thought he was alive, but the funny thing is I hadn't read 4 before I picked up 5, and so when I picked up 5, it was kind of a spoiler, but I was super
alert.
happy. I'm like, oh, it's Torben. Yes, so
Yeah. That was nice. So, okay. And the characters in this issue are Lula Telesola, Zine Morala, 5AG3, Argamon, who got them the intel, B333, and B, like Bryce mentioned last time, he does resemble this
A little
other
bit.
B. A little bit,
cross
right?
between
Look at
him
that.
and Wally.
He does. So I like that. Drigget Parse, who is from Valo, Farzala Tarabal, Cantum Sai, Niv Drendau, the scientist's apprentice, Pevel Kronara, Quart, Tani Brewill, Torben Buck, the warden, Addy Sunzi, Bindle Sepp, Deblindrix the Third, who is a little nameless, but this one has a name, so he's no longer nameless.
He's the named nameless.
The named nameless, yeah.
He's
And
only
then
getting credit because he's on one panel.
Yeah. Ishnar T. Karatal. And now I'm going to share the, what is this called? The crawl, so we can follow along. And it says, Star Wars: The High Republic, those 100,000 lights. As Republic forces launch a daring surprise attack on the Nile detention ship, the Corvix Vorn, the prisoners inside revolt. As the villainous scientist Niv Drendau Apruk scrambles to save his newly hatched Nameless, chaos erupts across the prison, and the warden jettisons all his captives into space, sending the rescuers into a frantic race to save their friends and destroy the Vorn forever. So this issue opens up with the ending from the last episode when the force field was released and all the prisoners started floating out into space. And it reminded me of like when Princess Leia floated out into space too after her son had blasted the ship. Yeah, Last Jedi. So it gave me that little flashback of that. And so we see them and they're like in an existential crisis because they're like, well, you know what? We're all going to die eventually. We can't survive much long out here,
right.
in space. But the Jedi can survive a little bit longer, right? Because they've been trained. So they decided to start helping the others, putting little oxygen breathers, although it doesn't protect them from the radiation and all the rays, the exposure.
Right.
Which is really what's the deadliest part. And then as they're doing that, the Jedi who are coming to attack have to shift gears because they have to save them, right? They can no longer just attack.
Yeah, Jedi... the long beam gets it's severely damaged. I don't know if it actually blew up. There was really no confirmation of that.
No, but it was taking a lot of fire.
Yeah. And so they made the shift to we have to do this at one prisoner at a time with all the small ships, kind of thing. And then so from the inside, we also then see Quart, Zine, and Lula all suit up, to go out and start rescuing.
Right. While the other part of their team decides to land inside the prison ship.
Yeah, that's Quart and Zine, and they're the ones that go in the prison ship. Yep.
Yeah.
And Quart's Padawan, who is no, I can't remember. It's the other. No, I can't remember.
The Nautilus character.
No, that's Argamon. She's not a Jedi.
Oh.
Yeah, she's.
I don't know if Quartz had a apprentice. That's right. Like I'm a little lost on that one.
Was it who was Quart's apprentice? He did have an apprentice. You're right. I don't remember who it is though. But so anyway, they start rescuing all the prisoners and putting oxygen on them, and then the other team is inside trying to take out the weapons because the long beam is getting pretty beat up. I can show that panel. That looks really good.
Is the long beam was that their bomber? They did say we had a bomber.
Yeah.
So they equipped that. They're trying to take out their pretty much anti-aircraft guns. They called it anti-aircraft, but they didn't call it anti-aircraft.
Blistering bombs.
The blistering bombs, yeah. But there it is. Take a look at it. It's taking some pretty heavy firepower there.
Yeah.
It's getting beat up. And then the smaller ships are able to, avoid it, but it doesn't look so good for the long beam.
Yeah.
But you're right. We don't know if it blows up or not. They never just
just the captain or here he just says get out of there. Oh, there they are.
Get it out of there, right?
Frozen.
Yeah. And so,
crispy.
Nev Drendal's really concerned because he loves he hatched these little hatchlings, right? He worked with Baron Bulin to create these monstrosities with their experimentation. And he's like, we have to save them. And the warden's like, nah, they're expendable.
The warden does not care.
He doesn't care. So then Drendal's like, we got to go save the other eggs before he destroys them all.
Right.
He's really attached to them.
The warden is, hardcore now to where any victory over the Jedi is all he cares about.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't matter what gets sacrificed or who gets sacrificed or anything like that. Like it doesn't care about the consequences.
Right.
I see something in front of me and I'm going to destroy it.
And we see here that the Nameless are not invincible. It died out in space too. So
yeah, we find out the war is pretty unhinged. Which is, pretty much in line with a lot of Nameless though. So
yep. And so then the Jedi end up being successful, right? They are able to rescue all of the prisoners that have been floating out in space. But then at that point, when they finish taking out all the blister bombs, Argamon's like, "Oh, I'm going to take out, do something else," and they're like, "What? Okay." So they just leave. With the droid, the Chaos droid, right?
Not B.
It's 5AG3.
Yeah,
5AG3 is he's a little Chaos droid, isn't he? Isn't that what they call him?
Something like that, yeah.
A Chaos droid, and so then they take off. We don't know what's happening, but then when they're all safe on the ship, and it looks just about
like the ship's going to go into.
The ship was trying to get away. Is having damaged hyperspace. They're trying to get away.
And then the Death Star.
And then we think that that Buckets is going to die, and they rescue him at the last moment. I like this scene. I like this.
Yeah, the long beam. Yeah, the long beam's right up.
It's
up
still
above.
there. Yeah, it's still there.
There's our confirmation.
And they're pulling up all of the victims, all the rescued victims. And it's funny because he's barefoot like they were in Andor when they were in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like this one because the characters look very sexy, I must say. Don't they? Look at that. Look at how sexy they look.
That's the one adjective I did not cross my mind looking at this panel.
Well,
look at this panel.
You're
this
not
is
Mike.
a sexy panel.
We just realized Mike is a foot person.
No, it's not his feet. I like the chiseled
I didn't
jaw.
mention the feet. I didn't notice the feet, and I didn't notice sexy. The two things you notice are feet and then sexy. So Mike is a foot person.
But am I wrong? Am I wrong?
So I know what to get Mike for Christmas.
Oh, you know what to get me for Christmas. That's for sure.
Oh boy.
Just
And that, folks, was the non-comic review part of our program.
And so now, then the warden says, "Hey," he tells Drigget, "You're a survivor. If you want to survive, come with me. Leave your friends, and we're gonna continue because I have something else planned." And she's like, "What?" It's like, "Okay, fine." And she does it. She takes off with the warden, and we don't know what's going on. And then warden's friends like, "Hey, Drigget, where are you? Come in, come in."
Right.
No response because
communists.
She took off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we see the little ship they're making a run for it. There's like, "Hey, we got to stop them." And then all of a sudden, kaboom! It just explodes, and they're like, "What? What happened?"
Well, there's a little bit of sadness because they realize that Argamon and
5A,
G3, they went back in because they had errands to run. It's what they called it,
right?
But then again, they showed up, at the last second, and of course, Big B's with them, because they couldn't leave him behind because he was the source. Kind of, he was the source, or which was funny.
He was the spy.
Yeah, so they couldn't leave him behind, but of course they sabotaged it. So like at this point, we don't know. Like, did Div make it off that ship? And
I think they did. But
you think Div did?
I think they
so.
really made a point to make her a secondary character, like more primary than the warden even. So I think that character lives.
Dridget went with the warden, but Div was the Boolin's disciple.
Oh,
yes.
I don't think he lived.
I don't think he made it. Yeah. You're right.
But the character with the headband, the younger one, I'm pretty sure that character lived.
Drigget. She took off with the warden. You're right. Yeah. But you're right. Niv, I don't think he made it.
I think
he died with the eggs. Unless when he went to go get the eggs, he actually escaped in an escape pod.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Because he wanted to rescue those eggs. That was his priority.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just want to show this last panel that shows the reunion. We see that Argamon made it back with the droids. So that's nice. Hello, hiya, hey. He's a hero.
It's just a funny design for a droid. It's like,
it looks a little bit like B3, but also a little bit of like Wally.
Well, to me, it looks like it's missing the bottom half of his body. I was like, what's going on?
He's missing his wheels.
That's very possible. That's very possible. That
it immobilized them.
So then there's a big reunion, and then they're in a bad way, so they put them into the pods, the back to tanks, and and again another sexy panel.
I didn't catch that either.
Okay, look at this panel. Tell me you don't see sexiness. The hair's flowing.
I see wounded, vulnerable people.
They're just hoping that
I
they have
see
one more day
characters
in the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and they're on Area Do, so another callback to Rogue One, right?
Yes.
Doesn't Rogue One open up on Area Do? So very nice. And finally, we get the resolution between because now that this is over, Zine finally can go confess to Lula what she's been feeling, and she's really worried because she doesn't know if Luke was going to accept her
yeah,
or what.
Issue.
So
This is almost like a conclusion to the beginning of issue 4, because issue
Correct.
4 is just panel after panel of these pink thought boxes.
right.
And so then we had the action, and now we're back to the pink thought boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But also the thing at the beginning
Right,
of
so it's
4
like
too was
circled
she was
back.
burning her Nile armor.
Yeah.
And now here, when she walks in on her at the end,
Yep.
she's again burning something, but
Mhm.
it's not her Nile armor.
No.
It's her Jedi robes.
Well, not hers
And she
specifically.
confesses that
They weren't hers, they were spares. But I think it was the symbolicism of
symbolism,
her basically saying, I'm not a Jedi. Like they were
I think it's her
robes.
too, because look, she's dressed in civies here.
Yeah, but she was the whole issue. This is the whole previous 2 issues. She was wearing this exact same outfit. But if you could see right there, they had some spare ones in the storage closet, but she decided to burn them as in a way of saying, I'm choosing this life. I'm no longer choosing the life of.
I can just see some Jedi coming back and be like, "Why'd you burn my clothes? Like, that's for mine." What
Yeah,
the
I
hell?
They were actually,
Bryce mentioned
It's a
something.
symbol.
Bryce mentioned something. Jonathan, Bryson mentioned that she's probably one of the first of the Lost 20 because she's leaving the Jedi Order.
Well, yeah, it
So I
depends on your definition of lost. Like, I mean, now she probably doesn't feel
I
lost.
think Ahsoka was considered one of the lost, right? She walked away from the Jedi Order.
But that was after we had been presented the Lost 20.
Yeah, Yoda talks about the Lost 20 before Ahsoka is lost.
Because the Lost 20 are in episode 1. Mm-hmm.
But still pretty much the same thing, I think. Yeah.
No, it was episode 2. It was episode 2. You talk about that deleted scene in Attack of the Clones when he's trying to find Kamino? He's standing in front of Dooku's statue, and I do believe that might be Keeves Tretis' statue next to him.
I think so, too. I think
yeah, Ahsoka's still after episode 2, though. But
yeah, Ahsoka's after episode 2.
But, yeah, I mean, we know Keeve walks away, and I hope we get that story on why.
She hasn't yet, though. She hasn't yet.
Correct. But we do know it happens, unfortunately, because it's already out there in Wikipedia and everywhere else. Yeah.
Right.
But we kind of be interested to see how that happens. And I'd like to actually get the stories, right? Like, I mean, we know Dooku's story. Dooku Jedi Lost.
Right.
You know, that just tell you right there that he's part of the 20. But that's the statues in the archives are all the lost Jedi that, you know, either fell to the dark side or walked away from the Order.
Well, I don't think they fell to the dark side. It's just that they left the Jedi Order.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Dooku
did leave. Yeah. Dooku did leave.
I can't imagine they're only
Jedi
at that point 20 Jedi have just left. It has to be more than that. I think it's
no.
A little more
it's only 20, Jonathan. It's only
the
20.
Jedi have been around for thousands of years, and only 20 have left.
Correct.
I think it's a little bit more than just leaving. I think it's maybe
22. 22 and a half. Fine.
There's some tragedy involved with it, not just leaving. I think there's something a little extra. So we'll find out more.
Hopefully we'll find out, unless it gets canceled like the Acolyte season 2.
It also make it more interesting because I don't really care if somebody just leaves. I want to know if it's a tragically, like something happened and Keeve decides to.
I think Keeve makes. I do actually think something happens and Keeve makes it like official. Like I'm walking away from the Order. I'm no
similar
longer
to what Ahsoka did, right? Similar to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because we also do
Dooku. I think it has to do with. It also has to do with. I think it has to do with Skier.
I would imagine. I mean, sole focus, really, of her is that she knows Skier's alive, and you know, and all that. Which,
and she finds him.
Right, but we know that the story continues not in the comics, but in Tempest Breaker, and then it picks up with that the new series that's going to be out February, I think, of next year.
Yes.
I don't even know how many comics that is, but as far as like the mainline Marvel book, like what we have been getting is done. Issue 10 was the final High Republic Marvel book. So I would imagine that this upcoming one may be a 4 to 6 issue mini series, and then I'm not ready, honestly. I know we're still talking about this comic, but I'm not ready for this to be over. Like at some point, I get it; it's got to end, right? But I don't want it to.
You talking about High Republic Phase 3? Or are you talking about Adventure?
Just period. The High Republic
The
stuff.
High Republic,
I get it. We got how they did it was exactly how Lucas did the original trilogy first, and then the prequel trilogy, then the sequel trilogy. I get it. But man, it's just like it's such good literary material, and I just like there's gonna be an end, and that day's gonna be sad because it's like, man, we already saw the end of Star Wars, the main Star Wars book. The main Vader book. Those are done. Now all we're getting is a mini series.
I think they're planning what's next already.
I hope.
Yeah. So there's some epic ending to this arc because this has been a long arc. Some with the death of Markion or something like that. The Fall of the Nile. But I think they're gonna cherry pick our favorite characters, and then probably do spin-offs of our favorite characters.
Well,
have nothing really to do with the Nile because they're gonna wrap that story up. But our favorite characters, we're not gonna see the end of like Elzar Man and stuff. Our favorite characters that are in Phase 3. There's no way. So they're
Avar
not just
Chris.
Avar.
Who knows?
What's the dog's name? The
Charhound.
Ember, right? Ember.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get more Ember. Yeah. So
I hope so.
Yeah. There's no way they're not gonna just end it. They're gonna get a spin-off somewhere, even if it's just individual, more toned down stories. But they just can't. I can't imagine. Well, they love eventually killing them off, so they're not gonna kill them all off at the end of this story. So they'll kill them off later.
Well, all right. So how many holocrons for this issue, this episode?
We'll let you go first, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan, you go first.
We'll go. God, put me on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go. I want to say 4.
Say it.
But I'm it was a little weak. We're gonna go. God, I'm really torn
Say
between
4.
3.5 and 4.
Say 4.
I think there could have been a little bit more individual action to make it to 4, like maybe a fight. There was no actual like hand-to-hand fight or fight scene, so I think that's what kind of maybe takes it from 4 to 3.5 or 7.5 right there. But it was a really good story. I just think we could have a little more heroism, action. Yeah, but other than that, it's still really good, so I enjoyed it.
How is not rescuing all those prisoners not heroic?
No, saying they do the good story, but like panel to panel, it's just like, oh, the prisoners are out there. We gotta get them individually. We got them individually, and it kind of like happened really quick, and then you see like one person get taken in the next shot. They say, "We got them all. The ships are full," and there was no real like fight scene. It's just you see them kind of storm.
They blew up the ship, though. They blew up the ship.
Yeah, we didn't. That just kind of happened. Like, what the heck just happened? So
it didn't just happen.
Maybe a little bit more. Break down the fight scenes. Like when you watch a movie, you want to see the action. You don't just want to know that the action happened or see the aftermath of it. But that's why I don't give it a 4. But other than that, it was a really good story.
Okay, good. Well, I give it a 4.5.
Same here. This is why we let Jonathan go first, because we were on a positive note.
4.5 for me. 4.5 holograms because it's I thought it was a good conclusion to the previous episode. It built it up and then it closed it. It's a nice part 2 for part 1. So, it's.
I still think there's a better story still to be told too.
I think so too. So it's not a 5, but I think 4.5 for sure. Solid 4.5 for me.
For
Bryce,
sure.
we're in agreement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why we wanted Jonathan go first, because I knew he wasn't going to give it anything higher than a 4.
Yeah, I didn't earn it. I need to stop being so nice. I need to go back to my strict ratings.
He was going to say 4.
Lately.
We know he meant 4, but he doesn't want to admit it. He's a softie, so he went down to 3.5. But he really is a 4 for John.
Yeah, he can't go. He can't go 3.75 because that would be just too much compromising.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to 3.
Be sure you're following us on YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, on Instagram at virtual.cantina network, on Twitter at Cantina Virtual, on Threads at virtual.cantina network, on Hive at Virtual Cantina, and on TikTok at Virtual Cantina. And like the VCN Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 Facebook page, our mothership, and also a shout out to our sister pages, Star Wars Comic Book Club and Star Wars Book Nerds.
Please like and comment. It really helps us out, and we really enjoy your comments. We love to talk to you guys. Love to hear from you guys. Love to hear your guys' ratings. And usually you guys agree with me because Mike's just too nice. He's just too nice.
Let us know if you thought those were some sexy panels too, because I bet there's more than one. Can't be the only one who saw sexiness in those pages.
Reach out to me and I will give you Mike's email in case you guys want to send him feedback.
No.
Oh man.
Too far, Jonathan. Too far. But hand it out. Or check any bathroom stall.
Oh my god.
All right. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Live long and prosper.